I'm going to verify connecting rod caps and their orientation, the direction. So this side, the connecting rod number and cap number should be visible on the top part of the cap and the connecting rod. If I'm going to zoom in, it should be visible right here. This is number 2, this is number 2. Same thing, I'm going to verify for number 3. This is number 3. These are the two middle one. Right now the gears are all aligned. Piston number 1 on top dead center. If you see this one, this piston number 1 is all the way down. Flywheel, when it's down, it is, the notch is basically lower left corner. Yeah. So, and flywheel marker pin, which is basically colored with this green color, is still visible. This hole next to the bolt hole. I seal these sides opening with the rubber wedges. Came with the Velcro kit. However, I did not use the rubber seal, I used the rope seal. You can take a look in my previous video. I did torque the mains cap bolts, like 3 of them. This one, the middle one, and the left front one. These are all torqued to 105 pound, and all 3 are 105 pound. These connecting rod bolts, they are all 45 pounds, torqued to the spec, based on the spec. What else? I just wanted to remember, I made a video when the piston number 1 is on top dead center. So I want to see where the flywheel is oriented. So I believe I will mark with this pinhole for the flywheel, which is right now 0 degree, shows 0 degree, should be 0 degree or parallel to the y-axis, 0 degree. Yeah. Everything looks right. So I completed this part. This is my 3rd attempt. First 2 attempts. First one was the complete engine was assembled, installed, tractor was ready, fired up, everything was running, and rear main seal leaked badly. One reason was very clear. I blocked the drain slot on the cap and the block, so oil did not drain from there, and it was accumulating and pushed itself out of the seal. I assume that was the reason. So I opened it up, I removed this, there was rope seal from the groove, drain groove, and I left only the rubber seal. However, I did tested this seal without completing the engine with the oil, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to rotate the crankshaft. Now remember, do not forget if you are rebuilding the engine and first time. So these two holes, these are drain holes. Any oil accumulate from the bearing, between the bearing and the seal, these holes basically drains away all the excess oil from the bearing back to the oil pan. If it does not drain, then it will basically push itself towards the seal, though it won't be a lot of pressure, but again, seal is not there to prevent the pressure. It's there just for normal 40-pound no pressure oil. So that's my understanding. It should just block it while it's draining, so it won't leak. If it leak, it will be a very minimal or unnoticeable that will accumulate over the year. That's my understanding. So make sure these two holes are completely clear, and when you install the cap, I did use some Permatrax sealant ultra black, but this so second time when I assemble it, I used very generously, and I did install the rubber seal. What I did after installing and waiting 24 hours to dry the seal, the silicone Permatrax ultra black, I gave it 24 hours, and then I filled these two holes with oils, and within a minute I was able to see oil was leaking from this side. That was a quick test. That shouldn't happen in my opinion. Seal should have blocked it because there was no pressure, and I was just squirting oil from one of these holes to fill the cavity, drain cavity in the cap. However, oil leaked right away. So it means either seal was too, the height was too short, was not touching the crankshaft, or it got twisted for somehow and created a gap and caused the oil to leak. So third attempt, right after that, I took apart everything again, washed again, clean again, clean all the gooey or ultra black stuff out of it, nice and clean surfaces again, and then I decided whether to use the seal, rubber seal or not. Then I decided to use the rope seal. In my previous video I showed you how I installed the rope seal and cut the excess out of it, and I believe rope seal will do better. It will leak, but it will not be significant. It should hold, and I should not be able to worry about, other than like if I really using this tractor almost every week, so after 6 months or something, the rate of leak should be minimal. It should not be like a cord, half cord, or in ounces. It should be like 2-3 drops, something like that, you know, while it's running. That's my assumption is. So I have to see the rate of leak if it's going to be. I doubt it, because this rope seal sits higher on the grooves and it should really seal it. The only concern I have is, as my machinist told me, rope seal basically is tight against the crankshaft, and when it is spin, it heats up the crankshaft. That's the only concern I have. But I believe if I have my radiator working correctly, it should take care of some of it. And this is the original design, so if it doesn't work, then it's mean design is not right, but I am not there to comment on the design. Design is fine, I think, and I'm gonna stick with old style rope seal, because I've seen in Ford and Chevy engine blocks, rope seal I still use. So that flimsy, tiny, little ass rubber seal didn't do anything. That's my opinion. It's too rigid. That may possibly can cause the twist, or it has only one lip. It should have at least 2 or 3 lip. So I don't know why this rubber seal can be designed better, has more thickness instead of just a tiny lip. So at least if this tiny lip, it should have like 2 or 3 lips side by side. So that's my opinion. Again, I'm not the engineer and I never designed anything, so but again, that's how it is. All the bolts are torqued. I'm going to install the oil pump, and then I will install distributor at this moment, so it will be easier for me to install the distributor, a hex drive, and since everything is open, then I will basically start assembling the front cover and put the governor, all those things. It should be fast, but that's how I was taking the approach. So the major twist here is I'm back to using rope seal. That's all. Good evening, everyone. Today, if you remember, I completed the engine, crankshaft, connecting rods, assembly, everything. Now I'm about to install oil pump. This is a new pump I purchased. There are a couple of things I found out when I was out buying this new pump, and the reason I bought this new pump is my old pump relief valve was stuck, and there's the one, and it was the relief valve was stuck. It did not move. So I gave it to my machinist. He looked at it, he confirmed it's stuck, he removed it, he gave me another one. So I have actually now ending up more than one oil pump. The reason is I bought my pump online from, I believe, I forgot the name, let me double check. I just want to use the right credentials. Whoever was selling me, this is coming from ASAP, ASAP. Let me check. Tractor ASAP tractor parts, something. I will put the link, the correct information. So I bought it online for, I believe, $120. It's been like 3-4 weeks, so my memory is not working correctly, but anyway, that's the price. So when I bought it online, I double checked all the spec and model number for tractor and everything, but when I was ordering it online, and also I cross-checked on different websites for the tractor parts, and I found out the same pump, oil pump for these tractors is kind of a generic and is used for different applications or different tractors, I believe. So since this is a generic one, it comes with the configuration online advertised as 1-port or 2-port plate. And what does it mean is basically the plate covers this pump, has 2 holes or 1 hole. So these are different, 2 different configuration. So when I got from my machinist, he gave me he had the same so he purchased it for me also, and when he got it, he got the one port, so that's why this extra plate is one port, you can see. And what he did then, he swapped the old plate from my old pump on the newer pump with 2 plates and gave it to me, so it should be working. And this is the one I got from my machinist. So it has 2 ports. 2 ports mean one hole is for the pickup, and one is the tube goes to the engine block. This one, it goes to engine block. This is the oil pickup. So that's one thing. So when you are out buying these pumps, look for your application, make sure you have single port or 2 port. I assume these tractors have 2 ports. So that's one thing. The second thing is make sure this is a hex drive driven. So the shaft is a hex shape shaft, connect to the distributor, and that's how it gets spin through the camshaft. So these pumps come in 2 different configuration also, like 2 port, single port, but inside the mechanism is this one is a rotor, and the other one are older, I believe, I'm not sure, but those other older one comes with the gear. These are not gear, this is rotor. So it spins inside this cavity and the surrounding rotor. So that's how, and I believe this is new technology, and it works better and more efficient. It has a more throughput, I believe. So anyway, so when you're purchasing it, make sure you order either single port or 2 port or 1 port based on your tractor, and make sure these also comes in gear type or rotor type. So this is, mine was already rotor, and these are my old rotors. I'm not sure these are old or new, but one thing I'm not sure, I'm going to double check, is my original one didn't have this shaft separate, like looks like these are like 4 pieces. One is the outer ring, the inner rotor, and the shaft, and a key to hold the shaft in place. I think my old videos, I will double check. Mine was like this middle piece was one single piece shaft, and the rotor was 1 piece, no key, or it's not pushed inside. So that could be the change in design these days. So that's one thing. So what I'm doing is actually I bought these 2, one from my machinist, one from online, and there were like time difference while working with machinists, so I already placed an order, so that's why I end up having 2. But what happened is, this website I ordered, they did the same thing which they did to my machinist. They sent the single port to my machinist, as well as when I ordered it, I received single port. So I have to call them back, and I told them like, hey, I received the wrong pump, and they were like very confused. They said like, we never sold 2 port, we always sell this, and the part number I placed in the order was correct and everything, but the plate was a single port. So after a day or 2 day negotiation, they said, yeah, okay, we're going to check the vendor, whoever sent you, they have a vendor too for this pump. So they checked, and they said, yeah, they came back and they said, yes, they sent you the wrong one, because I emailed them the pictures what I got, and then based on that they figured out, okay, what I mean by 2 port or 1 port. So they send me the replacement. So I have this replacement 2 port. What I'm doing right now is I'm cleaning it up with the brake cleaner and making sure everything is nice and clean. From factory, I can expect some some metal shaving or something, if that could be the reason. So I've cleaned it with the brake cleaner, and I'm going to assemble it and put it back. And this is the one which I order online, or will go in the tractor, a brand new pump. But I'm not sure what to do with this older pump body and rotor and the shaft. The only thing is this pump is missing. The original one is the relief valve. So again, I don't know what to do. So, but inside I can show you what comes out of it. So this thing, this is the relief valve plunger, a piston. It should be freely moving inside the pump body. It should not be stuck, and it has one side is spring loaded, so it's going to press against the spring when the pressure is too much. And the spring is basically calculated, the strength of the spring is calculated based on the 40 psi or 40 pound pressure. That's what it is. And this is the spring, I believe. That's how it goes. Let me check. So that's how it is. And can I squeeze it? Oh, it's hard. So anyway, that's how it is, and it's supposed to go inside this side like this, on this cavity, and it should be sliding maybe like this. Yeah, so that's what it is. Today I'm going to assemble it and try to finish the oil pump installation, and that's it. All right, folks, back. Hey guys, a quick video about the oil pan installation on Ford Tractor 640 engine. I just want to give you a quick tip how to install, because you may face a problem and you cannot just install the oil pan as simple as it's supposed to be. Everyone thinks you just put it there with the gasket and bolt it and talk to the spec and you'll be done. Actually, in my case, this is my second attempt rebuilding this engine, and hopefully this is going to be the successful, because I took some extra step. So one of the problem I faced last night when I was actually simply putting this pan on top of the engine like this way, just to see if there is any twist or any twist in the oil pan, so if it doesn't sit properly. But instead of twist, there is a minor twist, very minor, so once I'll torque it down it will be gone. It's very minor, bare minimum. You will not, even I'm pushing right now, you're not going to see any wobble. But yeah, without the gasket, if I put it on a flat surface, I notice some wobble. So I also see some dents, so I did remove those dents. I thought those were the problem, and the problem was when I was putting this, after installing the oil pump, after installation I put this pan like this way, and it was actually sitting on top of the oil tube, and I believe the oil tube it was sitting was the feed tube, not the pickup. So what was the problem? The problem was, I'm going to remove, I have not installed yet, but the problem was, I'm going to put it on some clean surface just to be sure. Okay, so the problem was this feed tube, which feed the oil, picked up from this pickup tube, went through the pump, sucked it by the pump, and feed it through this tube to the engine block. This is the nut which connects this tube to the engine block. There is a rubber washer. I cannot find this rubber washer anywhere, and even you cannot find this tube a new tube or remanufactured tube online or anywhere, you can find a used one from eBay, and so it's very difficult. So do not mess with this tube. But what happened, why the pan was sitting on top of this tube and rocking back and forth, it did not meet this surface, was this tube did not go through all the way to the port on this block. It's supposed to go all the way, so it will be lower, or at least the same height of this pickup tube, should not go above, beyond. So if I go and show you how it looks like, so I'm leveling my camera, and if you see right now it is just fine. Okay, it's just fine. Before it was basically way above, like it was like angle, because it did not go through the hole all the way down. And other problem was why it did not go through, because this tube basically is not really easy to install with the oil pump. So I'm going to tell you how to install next time when you face this problem. So the way I'm able to successfully install it, you cannot just simply install the pump alone, and then, which I had already tried, and I forgot the first time I did assemble it, I struggled it and I figured out the way how we're supposed to install. But this time, second time, I forgot, and the way you're supposed to install now, or it works for me, was first assemble the entire pump with these tubes, pickup and the feed tube. Okay, but do not install the pump. What you need to do is first bring it to the block, and the starting point to install the pump is with this tube in the block, and let this nut start the thread, like few threads, couple threads or more, where it basically holds, and later you can tighten it up. So you start this nut with this tube installed all the way shoved inside in the engine block, and then just hand tight couple of threads, so it's not going to come out. Your tube still will be able to move around left and right, up and down a little bit. There will be a play, and then what you need to do is then start these two bolts of the pump. Okay, so align with this, with the gasket between oil pump and the block right here, and then put these two bolts slightly poking out inside these oil pump holes. So everything should be aligned. Then what you need to do, make sure it's not going to come out when you proceed, and tight those pump bolt back and forth. So go like couple threads here and few threads here, so everything will be aligned and there will not be a lot of tension as you basically proceed, because this tube, the bends are not actually perfect. How is supposed to be this tube, if it's supposed to be, if I do it or somehow I can actually rebuild this again, I will create a kind of a this is not flexible, by the way, so don't expect it has too much flexibility. It does have some, but do not count on it. So but what I did is I actually did some bend, I bent this tube a little bit from different places to basically align this exactly in the hole before installing it. So one bend was, this bend is fine, but there should be one bend right here. It's not straight. Okay, the bend is right in the middle, like very slightly, so it comes out like this, and then make a turn. So it's like a 2-3 degree bend right in the middle. I did. If you see, if you notice, there are some scratches, and then there should be one. This was one bend, so this one bend here, one bend you can see is like almost 90, and this one is almost 90. This one is like 2-3 degree not straight. Okay, and then this one is like there's this bend, there's one bend right above, 1 inch above the nut, and then there's another bend right where the nut actually right now sitting. So there will be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 5 bends. So this doesn't, I mean, that's how, if I do it, redo it, I will do it this way, but I don't know the welding, much about welding. So anyway, so first make sure you do the dry run, install it by hand without this washer, so you can see how this tube sit right in the middle of the hole. There is a like kind of a concave pocket in this hole, so the tube should touch, and there's no what you call is there's a tool to create a kind of a like fuel line or oil line. You basically use a tool which is like kind of crimping. I forgot the name. Yesterday I was googling. I do need it. Flaring tool. Okay, so you create a flare. So on this tube there's no flare, so there's no holding power underneath, but I believe the good design should be this nut should be put it on this tube and created a flare. That flare will help to hold down this tube by this nut and will create less gap. So, but by the way, so anyway, in short story, is start with this tube first in the engine block, few turns of this nut freely, and then install this pump. Then you can actually have a good nice fitting. Otherwise you're going to basically maybe accidentally end up breaking this tube or breaking this weld here. If you see the weld is visible. So anyway, that's one way, and so just keep it in mind. Thank you. Bye.